Welcome back to Shine In and Out, the space where science meets soul. I'm your host, Sammy Stoltz, and today I'm joined by Anna Van Atmel, the founder of Wandering Roots. Anna leads adventure retreats for women all over the world and teaches entrepreneurs how to design their own profitable retreats. Her belief is simple but powerful. Travel and community aren't just about seeing new places and meeting new people. They're about discovering new parts of yourself. We'll dive into how making big life changes doesn't mean starting over, why traveling with strangers can be so transformative, and the surprising science behind how adventure reshapes our minds and bodies. Let's jump right in. Psychologists describe something called the stranger effect, and it's really interesting. So when you're meeting people in unfamiliar contexts, it can actually help you drop the masks that you usually wear in society based on people's expectations. So without that history of people knowing who you were, your social brain can reset and become who you are or who you want to be. Traveling with strangers, as you may have encountered, creates these rapid, deep bonds that almost don't make sense. And that's because oxytocin, the hormone associated with connection and love, actually rises when we share these vulnerable new experiences, especially in challenging environments that we haven't been introduced to before. So that's super cool too. Okay, Anna, so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with what inspired you to be where you are today, leading Wandering Roots and women into these types of incredible experiences.
Sure. It was kind of a long road, so just give you some cliff notes. But I worked in a molecular diagnostics lab for 13 years, and for the last half of that, I was given the opportunity to be a entrepreneur with no financial risk. I started a lab for a company. They hired me. I built it, hired the staff, bought the equipment, whatever. I also, at the same time, 6 months into it, had to have neck surgery. I was in a couple car accidents as a kid and it just caught up with me. And so I couldn't do anything. I was in a neck brace for 4 months, couldn't drive, couldn't work, never paused ever. Up until that point, I was 28. And so I had this moment of realizing I had more financial and career, sort of climbing the ladder success than I ever thought possible. But I was wildly bored, and I was just falling out of love with it. And I had a lot of guilt and shame about not being more grateful for it. But I also had this moment of clarity of if I can have this much success in something I'm not jazzed about, imagine the success I could have if I was passionate about it. And so I also at the same time really got into yoga because I was dealing with some chronic pain post-surgery and I didn't want to live the rest of my life that way. So I took yoga teacher training because I really got into the mental benefits of it. And I realized that I had never been in a room full of strangers, 11 strangers that were loving and supporting each other for who they are and not who they're trying to be. And I thought I could create that same vibe by hosting a retreat and start teaching yoga and creating experiences all over the world. And that was the culmination of those two things was how it happened.
That is beautiful. Beautiful. I
Thanks.
understand the pull of science and the soulfulness. That's what I'm all about, trying to find that happy medium. It sounds like an incredible start, but even more powerful that you were able to understand yourself enough to know that it wasn't your end game or your purpose.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. Yep. Starting out, I'm just curious, did you feel a sense of nervousness being the leader of such things? Because I, as a hostess, if you will, always have that sense of, is everybody comfortable? Is everybody happy?
Yeah. So definitely I've done it. I'm going to Italy in a week to host in the Dolomites, and it will be my third retreat. I've been doing it since 2018. And I remember in the first year getting nervous about it's sort of, it's like an overnight event. So you want everything to go well. You want everybody to have a good time. But I think with enough experience, it's not that I don't learn new things or get good feedback where I make changes, but it is that I am confident and that one, it's never that big of a deal. I don't have to take myself that seriously. We always figure it out. But also when I was in yoga teacher training, one of my teachers told me, remember that you can't take some of us had been practicing for like a decade or whatever, and like you can't take 10 years of your experience and fit all of the lessons into a 60-minute class. It's just impossible. And also, people are on their own journeys and they're going to get what they need to get at that point in that moment. So for me, I can do whatever I want, but like they're still ultimately responsible for their experience and they also are way more attuned to what they need. So I don't get caught up with that. I like to make myself approachable in case there's something that I could do to make their experience better. But other than that, I don't waste too much energy on it anymore.
Great. I love that perspective. I think about doing such things like creating an environment where people are growing together, being vulnerable, some type of, retreat or, I don't know what the word would be, congregation. But yeah, I really like what you said about people being responsible for what they get out of it. That is huge in everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So how have you seen examples of this full transformation of these women coming in versus the women that come out of your transformative retreats?
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons I started my brand is I could not articulate what I wanted. Like I had created a life and this career and I had never once thought if that's what I wanted. I was just a very practical kid that was good at science and went to college and climbed the ladder and got a job, you know? And so I believe that living a life that you love is accessible to everybody, but you have to know what you want and you have to ask yourself fairly regularly. It's incredible to see. I only host women. It's incredible to see women, one, just let themselves be fully taken care of. Like a lot of women suffer from just wearing all the hats and decision fatigue. And I get so many people at the end of the week saying, like, I've never felt that taken care of. This is, filled my cup and all of that. I get some women that are in the later ages, 60s, 70s, that like have never done anything for themselves. They've always put themselves last. And like they're kind of fine, like feeling empowered on that level. Also, like you see yourself the way other people reflect you back. So a lot of your friends, families, whatever, have you in this box. And it's not necessarily intentional or wrong, but it's usually very easy for these women to connect quickly and deeply because it's usually a lot easier to tell a stranger your deep, dark secrets than it is
Isn't that
you know,
wild?
anybody else. Yeah, it is. And it's insane. I think it's beautiful, but also you should be able to tell anybody your deepest secret, especially the people you spend your time with. But like, it's an intimate thing to go on a retreat and share space and feelings and experiences.
I completely know what you mean about the box. I describe it as like the masks that we wear that people know us as.
Yes.
Like anytime I see one person, I'm like, oh, I gotta put the smart mask on. Or when I see them, oh, the funny
Yeah.
mask, and I'm always myself, but it's just those parts of me come out more because that's clearly what they received from me the first time we met. It's crazy.
Right.
So I love that
Right.
when you're with these strangers, you can choose to be anyone, and hopefully you choose to be exactly who you are and really take that
Yes.
opportunity. So that's
Yep.
really awesome. And what do you say to people who might say, of course I can change things while I'm on a beautiful vacation. What about when I get back to the real world?
Yeah. So I actually often say that I don't think you need to go on a retreat to make change or have transformation. It sometimes makes it easier to go away, be in a different environment, be surrounded by like-minded people that are supporting you and encouraging you. And then also not being next to like your dishwasher or your laundry machine or whatever, just like, taking some of the distractions and responsibilities off your plate. I think that for me, environment is the biggest impact on my habits and how I spend my time. And so I always say I love Vacation Anna. I wish she was around all the time, but like she creates more space for just reflection. And a lot of inspiration for me comes on like a hiking trail several hours in at a beautiful vista, not when I'm dying at my desk reading content. And so
Uh-huh.
I find a lot of like healing and creativity in nature and exploring new places and pushing myself and out of my comfort zones. For me, travel has always been that. Sharing it with other people has also been great, but I also love solo travel and quiet time. So, again, I don't think you need to go away, but I think sometimes it can allow for a maybe a bigger shift. And then I create journal questions daily and I try to get them to be intentional about what was the best part of this week for you. Can you incorporate it when you get home so that one there's a
Mm.
more of an integration when they get home, but also like you can carry some of this with you. It doesn't have to just be when you leave.
That's great. That's great. I do think there's such a power in being around like-minded people. It just
Yeah.
has this momentum effect where you're able to go in this
Yes.
beautiful cycle of change so quickly. And what you said about the hiking and the wisdom that comes to you, that is where I go. I, at least once a week, have to have a nice long hike,
Yes.
just, be in nature.
Mhm.
But you're completely right about making yourself uncomfortable being the impetus of so much beautiful growth. And in my experience, it has been all of my growth really in the moments that I was uncomfortable or, didn't want to do something but made myself do something. And I was always so glad that I was.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the environment being so impactful, vacation, Anna, and whatnot, I will say that there's definitely something to that, but when people
Yeah.
think about, well, once I go back to my home environment, is there, no use anymore? But even like the small scientific changes in your routine, like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, get out on the different side
Yeah.
of the bed, like observe all of these habitual things that you're doing, brush your teeth with your left hand, like do all of these things, throw yourself
Yeah.
off. You can change in your own environment just by recognizing how
100%.
habitual your life is. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that that's arguably just as powerful if you don't have the luxury of being able to go on a vacation at the time, but you're ready to make some changes.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I love Dr. Joe. I love
Yeah,
like
he's
yeah,
great.
it's got a
So,
great yeah.
I love to hear that you also gain things from your retreats because it is you working, but you're
Yeah.
not, stressed about things. You're able to like be a part of it and you're growing and learning with these people. And that is
Mhm.
so beautiful. I cannot think of anything better to do with my time. That is so
Yeah.
great.
It's rewarding. Yeah. I find a lot of purpose in it.
And do you find a lot of the people that come to your retreats like form these lifelong bonds with one another because it's so transformative?
Yes, people keep in touch, hook up and hang out post-retreat. I have quite a few ladies that come on one a year and decide on which one. It's almost like adult, like summer camp of like, which one are you going on? And they'll get to see each other. It's really beautiful. And I like seeing them again too. So it's lovely.
That's so great. That is so great. So as far as transformation goes, do you have any stories that really just struck you as like, whoa, we are making huge changes in only a few days here?
I had one woman that quit her job before she got home. She was just like, "This is not for me, and I don't want to come home to it." She just is like Wednesday and flew home on Saturday. I had a woman that has cerebral palsy, and she called me before the retreat to make sure that she could participate if we brought her walker and her handicap sticker. And we went to Olympic National Park, and it took some team effort in some areas, but she sobbed at the end of the week that she wouldn't have been able to experience it without the group. And it was really beautiful seeing everybody come together and support her. And I, as somebody that had some physical like humility with like wearing a neck brace for a while and dealing with chronic pain, like it was such a beautiful reminder to love your body and its ability in whatever capacity you're currently in, whether that's aging, whether that's injury, whether that's whatever. Those humbling types of experiences teach you so much empathy and compassion for not only other people but for yourself. And I like that probably one of my favorite, honestly, retreats and moments. I loved her, and I've always wanted to be the approachable brand, and the fact that I think that wellness looks differently for everybody, and it looks different for me day to day, and I wanted to make wellness approachable. I wanted to make mental health approachable, or like, sharing space with strangers and connecting. And so I always say choose your own adventure, and I make that itinerary fun, but I also want you to tune into what you need day to day. And so being able to host so many women from so many walks of life and so many different ages and physical capacities that's what I wanted. And so that was like a moment of like, God, I did it. I was just really proud of myself. And yeah, that was one of the most rewarding ones I've had. So
That is so beautiful. And it's, you're creating these environments where people are supporting each other, and it might not be physically all of the time, but this was an example where it was physically, mentally, spiritually, just
yeah,
energetically all being there for each other. And that is so powerful, so moving.
yeah,
And I love thinking about her and how she went through with it, because I
yeah.
have struggled with my own chronic pain, and I used to hold myself back a lot. Like, even
Uh-huh.
going to drive 20 minutes to hang out with my friends at Disney Springs when I lived in Orlando, I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna drive. Oh, but I don't wanna hold you guys back if I have to leave early. Oh," and there were all these things and all these fears that, like, kept me from enjoying, or had me worried about keeping other people from enjoying, when I'm sure my friends had no trouble accommodating. And when you think about yourself in the perspective of somebody on a retreat that is able to help somebody have this experience,
Yeah,
it is unequivocal. Of course I wanna do that. Like, do not ever
yeah,
say no to yourself if you wanna do something.
yeah.
So creating that space, I think even just hopefully somebody hearing this may be inspired to do the same.
Yeah, I think we get in our own ways a lot. Our limiting beliefs can stop us from even trying. I mean, even it probably took her a lot of courage just to even call me. And you know what I
Totally.
mean? And like, there's just one small step that's usually the difference between you doing it and not. And so the more I think you can show up and challenge your limiting beliefs and just take one small step, it usually ends up unfolding to like turn
Yeah.
into this bigger thing. So,
And Anna, one of the biggest things that did that for me was travel. For
ugh,
my first time
yeah,
abroad, went to France with my dear, dear childhood friend, and I was going through a pretty deep depression at the time. I was like at the worst of my chronic pain and fatigue, and I even told her beforehand, I was like, "Hey, just so you know, like, I'm not my best self that you're probably used to, and I'm worried about holding you
yeah,
back, but I want to be able to do everything, and I'm so excited about this." And I went anyway, and I'm so glad that I did. I think we connected in a different way because she didn't understand maybe what I was going through when I had that phone call with her, but it became such a deeper friendship, deeper than it already was, and it became such a deeper connection to myself, because every day I would wake up and say, "I don't know if I'm gonna make it through today. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to walk as far as they're planning to walk or do any of these things." And then I would do it, and I would be like, "Oh my gosh,
yeah,
even though I'm in so much pain, like, my body still worked." And it just
yeah.
changed everything for me, and I just learning to trust my body was one of the most beautiful lessons from travel like that, and I try to build
That's
on it every
beautiful.
day.
Yeah, I that's beautiful. I also, I think that there's a lot of confidence and resilience that you gain every single trip, whether it's with your body or just
Oh, yeah,
navigating new
anxiety
things
in
and,
general. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Getting through it.
yeah,
Getting through it.
so
You have to prove to
yeah,
yourself that you can do these things, and the more you do that, the more you believe in yourself, the more you trust that even if
yeah,
you don't know what's going on, you will figure it out, and then you don't have that
yeah.
panic because you have that trust. So,
I had
100%.
a lady that's so worried about taking a cab from the Venice airport to Venice because she gets in early, and I'm like, "You don't wanna
I
sit at
get
the
it.
airport for, whatever," and I was like, "It's so easy, there's so many there, you don't even have to ask, they'll just shuttle you, whatever," and I was just, like, reflecting on how when I first started traveling, like, I don't even remember being nervous because it's so far removed from my experience now. You know what I mean? Like, I've just done it
Yeah.
so much, and I've been so many places, and I've rented cars and where you drive on the other side of the road and the signs are in a different language, and it's just like it's just a thing now. It's part of the thing. So I it was a nice reminder to be like, the more you do it, the more you're not a
100%.
beginner, the less scary and terrifying it is, right? You're just
That is,
comfortable.
it's exposure therapy. I mean,
Yeah.
I have some friends that I talk to mostly online, and they are very socially anxious, and, they talk every once in a while about trying to get themselves to get out there. And I explained to them, like, it might seem like I am just a naturally extroverted person, but I'm an introvert. I'm an ambivert, maybe, because I love interacting with people, but I was the most socially anxious kid you could ever imagine. Like, I had to plan out my conversations for the next day before I could sleep. And then I would be
Aw.
so worried that I couldn't sleep. Telling them that and like having those experiences and now being the people we are today, I think is that much more powerful of an example because you were where they were or where they are,
Yes.
and you show them where they could be if they push themselves to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I love that. Exposure therapy. So you do specifically for entrepreneurs on those, you show them how to do retreats?
Yes. So I started in 2018 and I quit my job, my lab job. I side hustled the brand for 2 years. I quit in October of 2019, only to have to cancel all of my retreats in 2020. I was planning to host
Oh,
six of them. And I was like, you know what? The lab that I worked for wanted to start COVID testing. They asked me to come back twice. And I was like, no, I'm not interested in going back. I realize that is the easier and the
love you.
better
No.
financial decision, but no. And I was like, what will I do with this gift of time? And a lot of people had asked me if I'd ever plan theirs or other people's. And I initially was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still figuring it out. And I was like, okay, I've done it, I think 6 or 7 times at that point. I can create like an offer. So I created a 1-to-1 where I like do all of the logistics and manage the budget so they make a profit. And then a digital course if somebody has less money to invest and they want to DIY it or do multiple a year or start a retreat brand. And I it's been awesome. I there is so many reasons why you can host a retreat and there are thousands available. Every person that I have worked with is so passionate about sharing this content because it has formed their life. So to be a part of that and to hear their story just lights me up. I love it. Yeah, it's sometimes I don't know if you found this as just being an entrepreneur, but a lot of times you like set out and you plan to do certain things and then you get nudged in different directions that you never
Uh-huh.
saw coming. And that's one of
Yeah.
them for me. And I really do that actually more. I host 2 to 3 times a year now and I do more planning for other people. I've sort of shifted in the last 5 years.
Wow. I mean, that way you're spreading your impact. You're not just
Yeah,
touching
it's
only the people
exponential
that
at that
you're
point.
interacting
Yeah.
with. It's like the waves and the waves from the waves. So that
Yeah.
is, of course, that's higher purpose, right? It always
Yeah.
brings you to spreading it further. So I'm curious about how you find that balance between, the fun, the activities, and the reflection time, the growing time, the
Yeah.
getting deep.
Yeah. So as a seasoned host, I make sure there's 3 to 4 hours of downtime per day, usually in the afternoon before we have our final meal together, because it is a marathon, not a sprint. Even if you're doing a long weekend, like a 3 night instead of a 6 or 7 night, like I usually do now, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of energy. And I also never host alone. I've had a photographer and a personal chef on every single one of my retreats. And I make sure that for me, the ratio host to guest is about 3 or 4 to 1. So I never host a group bigger than 10 to 12. And so, okay, I hope this answers your question the best. But like most new hosts throw everything but the kitchen sink at their itinerary because they're trying to provide value. And that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
People are exhausted,
Okay.
you're exhausted, and you don't want that. You want them to feel restored. And also, they have a little bit of that like like doing a new thing like imposter syndrome. And so they put value in the itinerary, but then they don't give enough time to like interact with the guests. And they're coming for you. There's so many retreats they could go on. They're coming on yours for a reason. And it's
Mm.
mostly you. You have created it. So like spend time with them. That's a really big, it's like an honor to share space with people that want to, overnight with you. It's a big ask. I always say like, there's a layer to a sale when you're selling a retreat because, like, you have to convince them you're not a serial killer. The first time you meet, you're staying the night together. So it's like that's a big ask. You should spend some time with your guest and get to
That's a
know
great
them
point.
and hear their stories. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure that's
So,
on
and then for
record.
me, yeah, and then for me, I also try to find a lot of times I can rent a private like, I always rent privately, but usually if there's multiple dwellings on the property, I like to keep the host in a separate property just so that like when I worked a 9 to 5, there was that physical end to the day. I have helped the
Yeah.
chef clean up, and I have left the main house, and I have went to my house, and I'm going to have some quiet time, and it will be, go to bed early and prep for
Yes.
tomorrow. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm big on my quiet time. It helps me be a better me the next time I interact with
Same.
people, so it's always worth it.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel the need to, like, mesh your guests together? Or maybe
Not really.
because
Everybody
yeah.
shows up like very nervous and kind of like, a little bit, yeah, just nervous. But honestly, by the first dinner, with an hour into it, it gets louder. People are interacting. So no, I have never had a major situation. Been very, very lucky in that everybody's gotten along. So, I mean, I definitely create we start where I want everybody to introduce themselves, and then we go around the table after they usually say like their roles, responsibilities, things like that. But then I make them go around after everybody's done that and say 3 things they love about themselves, and so it's sort of like you get to know the essence of the person, like for real. We have a WhatsApp group, and we Zoom before sort of those icebreakers are sort of hashed out, like nervous, like jitters and stuff before they even get there. Are you there? Can you hear me? Weird. Is it working or not?
Adventure doesn't just light up the mind, recalibrates the body. Research shows that stepping into nature lowers our cortisol, our main stress hormone, and boosts vagal tone, which is a key measure of nervous system resilience, as you'll know if you've been here before. So when someone leaves their comfort zone for a retreat, they're not only shifting their mindset, they're also resetting their stress response on a biological level. And Anna, of all people, knows how powerful this can be.
So weird. I hope this didn't mess everything up either.
Okay, I can see you better, but now I can't hear you.
I don't know. I really
What do you have as your microphone?
sure. It's just an external. Yeah, it says it's more of the media thing than the sound that
There's so much more I
actually
want to
has.
ask you.
I mean, I don't really. If there's some firewall, I'm gonna probably have to like chat with the Riverside people. But I've done multiple podcasts in this platform, and it's been fine.
Check in the help center.
Maybe I could try on my phone.
Oh my God. Moment of
Yes.
truth. I can hear
Hi.
you. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I do have the app, and it looked like that would work fine too. So if I need to do that, I can do that.
Well, for now, it's just gratitude. I don't know exactly where we left off, but I was thinking about a lot while we were in limbo.
Okay. I'm gonna be able to edit this together. I really hope it didn't
Yeah.
mess up your whole
No, I'll make it work.
system.
I'll make it work. Put some like funny
Okay.
technical difficulty symbol or something. um,
Right.
so it got me thinking about in my own journey, I think the biggest thing holding me back is myself. And when you talk about
Always.
leading the retreats, when you talk about leading the retreats, it like makes my heart so happy. The idea of being able to touch people with my warmth. I think social media is so great because yes, I can reach as many people as possible with my message and hopefully, change their lives for the better. But it's such a different thing to be able to do it in person and to, have them feel my love and
Yes.
feel my energy. And it almost makes me want to like, instead of going on someone else's retreat, hosting my own.
Sure.
So incredible. Very big shift over this episode because it's scary. It is scary to,
Yeah.
plan it, but I think that's why your work is so great because you know what you're doing. You have, set plans and perhaps we'll collaborate on something. That way we
Yeah.
can both have an impact. And I can feel more sure because I wouldn't say travel planning is either a forte or a hobby. So,
Not for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I also like asking for help is the gateway to living your best life. There are things I don't want to do that I offload all the time.
whoa. Huge, huge moment right there, actually. Asking for help. I've been talking about that a lot with people, actually, because of, I don't know if it's inherent that we feel like a burden or if we're taught that
Yeah.
if we ask for something, we feel like a burden. But I'm really trying to release that because anytime someone asks me for help, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
And I think people generally love to help. So,
I do too. And I think like if you're going to start a business or start hosting, like, people that have been in your shoes before know how scary and how hard it is. And they want to help you. And they probably leaned on others. So they want to pay it forward. And it's just turns into this sort of like, beautiful thing when we do ask for help. So I
yeah.
agree with you too. I don't know if it's like feeling like a burden or feeling like I must have it all figured out on my own.
Mm.
It's like a maybe a little bit of both, but it's a undoing that I think is worth my while, and I've been doing it for a while.
That is true because I have so many things going on and I care so much about this business, but I'm also taking classes, applying to PhD programs, working full time in
Yeah,
a neuroscience lab, like doing all of this. And it would be great
yeah,
if I had, outsourced help to edit videos and stuff, which is not part of my passion and purpose.
yeah,
But I almost feel like I tell myself that I need to have these skills or that I need to start from grit and it needs to be super difficult for it to,
yeah. It doesn't need to
yeah,
be hard.
you're so right.
It
In
can be
fact,
fun and
yeah, if
exciting.
I make it easier on myself and anticipate that I'm investing in myself by doing so, and in the
Yeah.
company, of course, then there should be nothing holding me back from asking for help. You're completely right.
Yeah, I like to think like if you can start to outsource, like what are the things you don't find joy in doing, or what is a task that even if you spent so much time trying to learn it, would the end result still not be something you're proud of? You know what I mean? Like there are things that like an expert is just probably like an electrician, maybe you won't burn your house down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, like, but like an analogy like that.
And they need to make their
So,
livelihood too, so we're helping.
yeah.
Yeah, that is very true and some big food for thought. Big big flakes. So let's see. For someone who's listening and feels stuck, what comes to your mind as something that you would want to say to them to bring more adventure and more growth into their life?
So I think that when you step outside of your comfort zone, like that's where the magic happens. That's where you like learn more about yourself. You know more about what you like and what you don't like. And when I had a really hard time figuring out what my next move, like I for a long time, I just knew I wanted to leave my job. I wanted to leave the lab, but I didn't know what I would go to,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what that would look like. So I just started journaling about what I didn't like and why I didn't like it. It made me get clearer on the things that weren't working for me. And then I started making lists of things that I kept saying no to because they sort of like, gave me
Hmm.
like made me nervous, but I actually like wanted to do that. I wanted like so I started saying yes to anything that terrified me
Yes.
and that was on my radar for a reason. And I and then I also like quit the things that didn't serve me. So I stopped spending time with people that wanted to talk me out of it and thought I was having a midlife crisis. If I tried something and it didn't feel good, I tried to get clear about if it was because I was a beginner and it was clunky, or if because it just wasn't something that served me. And then I either pivoted if it was the first one, or kept going and trying, or quit. There's a lot of power in quitting the things that don't serve you. And I am in a habit of once a quarter asking myself what I want and journaling to the like minute detail of what my day would look like and mostly how it would feel. Freedom's a really big value.
Yes.
So I need to have agency over my own life, and I also need to have space in my day. That's what it feels
Yes.
like to me. So yeah, I think the more you can get clear on what your values are and how they make you feel, and then what your values aren't and how they make you feel, and
Totally.
start making choices from there, you'll figure it out. But being stuck and being a little bit uncertain is part of the journey.
Yeah,
So don't just like quit, and completely because you feel stuck.
totally.
That's not a good way to live.
I'm definitely getting clearer on what
Yeah.
I want. And when a friend comes to me and I'm like, "Oh, how's the job? Like, it's what you thought you wanted to do. Like, tell me about it. Do you like it?" And they're like, "No, I actually hate it." I'm like, "Great. Now you know what you
You
don't
know.
like."
Now you
Like,
know.
that's
Yeah.
great. Um, and I kind of spent the better part of my research path in the back of the lab at the bench, thinking I wanted to be in the background, not interacting with anybody, but helping humanity.
I resonate with that deeply.
And then I actually realized even though it was scary to think of interacting with people and having a direct impact, it was what I wanted. And so saying yes to the scary but happies, like the desire, and saying no to the neutrals, actually, like the things that kind of make you like,
Ooh,
yeah, I think that's like, oh, like if I
that's
just feel
great.
like nonchalant about editing my videos, for instance, maybe I don't need to spend my
Yeah.
time doing that. And I think it Naval Ravikant, he wrote a book, something almanac, and he talks about setting a salary for yourself hourly or something like that. And
Yep.
anything that would be under that you can outsource or something like that, like to really get yourself going as an entrepreneur. And I think that's brilliant, even though it's scary to spend the
Same.
money.
Yeah. I mean, you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your growth on a personal and a professional level. That's I think the only way to do it. And the more you can be in a abundant mindset, the better your whole life is.
That's so true. I definitely, whenever I think about why I'm doing it, and it's not
Yeah.
at all for me, it's for the people that I want to touch in their lives to be better and happier and healthier, the best versions of themselves. That's really what I want to help people be. It has nothing to do with me. And it's like, okay, so if I run out of money, all right, I'll figure it out.
Right.
Like, what matters more
Right.
to me is that I'm making my impact, because if I am not making my impact, I think my soul would turn inside out, because she is talking to me every day. She is she is yelling at me to keep going, even though it's scary.
Yeah, I always say that first of all, I don't know anybody that their driving factor for hosting or being an entrepreneur and doing work that they're passionate about is the money. It's never the
Yeah.
driving factor, but it is the sustainable way to be able to serve
Yeah.
people and run your business year after year. So I think the sweet spot is finding a salary that sustains a life that you love, creating work that you find purpose and joy in. And if you can blend those two things together, it's magic
I
most
think
of the
that's
time.
brilliant. I I struggle because I want to give everything away for free because it's what I want to do, but you're right. For me to do my best work, I need to have the income for the lifestyle that allows me to work in the way that I work best. And it's not 9 to
Yes.
5. I have spurts in the
No.
morning. I need a break. I need, my nature time, my isolation, meditation, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I work best when I work best, not on someone else's
And
clock. So being able to
yeah.
create my own schedule, like you said, that freedom is a huge deal. I know, especially with my physical limitations, I don't ever want to feel
Yeah.
like I'm not. I worked for a company for a minute there that was like, "Oh, you're only allowed to take one walk a day." And I was like freaking out, like I'm going to have to I'm going to have to sprint to make up for the 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's about like the checking in with yourself, looking what your perfect day looks like. I think is a great, like, your daily life. And so many people, I realize, because I tell my clients, like, if you don't know what you want, there's no way you can get it. And everybody
Right.
comes to you dissatisfied, and you're like, hey, like, I understand you're dissatisfied, but do you know why? Do you know what you would change? And it takes a lot of
Right.
that time to go within, and I think journaling is one of the best tools for that. And if you hate journaling, sometimes this morning, even on my way to work, I was like, I had all this like energy pent up, and I just turned on the voice recording and was just babbling during my drive. And I came up with some great ideas and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just allowing yourself the space to have that constructive self time, I think.
Yeah. Like You can process in whatever way you wanna process. You can grab coffee with your girlfriend, you can journal quietly, you can voice memo yourself. I think that's no different than like, saying you figure out when you work best. Hate mornings. I absolutely hate them, and I sleep in, and I have 0 guilt about it.
That's
I work
great.
best at, like, noon and then, like, later, like, evening.
Perfect.
And
I
that's
love
it.
the
I
no
wanna be
guilt.
out during the day, I want a quiet, slow morning, and that's it.
I love that. I think
So
I think the ideal version of each of our success is doing what we need without feeling the guilt. And
yes, tap
I
into
love
what
that.
works for you. Doesn't have to look a certain way, right? Like, who cares what it looks like? How does it feel?
So when you were starting out on this more spiritual, holistic type path with the yoga and everything, was there a time where you were afraid to go within and encounter that more subconscious version of yourself? Because I feel like
Totally. I
yeah,
mean, growth is scary usually. They say most people describe yoga as sort of a peeling back the layers of the onion. So you're always yourself in different forms, but you're just getting deeper to the root of who you are. The more you are willing to go there, right? And I guess if you've had a very significant shift in your life, your mindset, you know that it's hard. You'll have to be super honest with yourself. You'll sometimes not get the support from the people that you thought were closest in your circle, which is really hard. But being on the other side of it, you know how much better it is to live that way and live more in your truth. So whenever I'm on the verge of like something, I do drag my feet. I'm always like, oh God, this is going to be hard. But I also will push myself because I know whatever's on the other side of it is worth it. And I'm very committed to just personal growth in general. I want to call out my own bullshit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to, like, live more in alignment with who I am as a being, not who I'm trying to be, but just as a being, and help that direct me in how I live and work.
I think that's brilliant. For me, the bullshit is the blind spots. I know I've got them.
Yeah.
I know because I
Yeah.
can only see from my perspective. And being around people who value growth as well and are willing
Ooh,
to
yeah.
reflect to me what I need to do to grow those blind spots is such a gift. And I think so many people take constructive criticism so to heart and harshly because they think that they're criticizing you, but they're really
Yeah.
criticizing. I mean, what you said about the layers, my metaphor is you have like a gold nugget of a heart and there's just layers of like mud packing on with whatever society's teaching
Yeah.
you, all of the pain that you've been through. And you got to pressure wash that mud. It's not going to
Yeah.
be fun. It's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be icky.
great.
It's going to shoot back at you. It's going to be gross.
Yep.
But normalize it being hard, normalize it being scary to go within and
Yeah.
to really encounter yourself like that and empower people to do it and do it together. Like we're all growing together,
Yeah.
we're all being vulnerable. I want to create a community like that. And I'm so glad to have found you, someone who is doing that every day. So thank you for the work that you do.
It's same. Same to you. I think that we all are more alike than we're different, and we all
Yes,
want the best for ourselves and each other. The more people that are willing to do the work, the better we're all going to be. So,
100%.
yeah, I agree with you. Collective is better.
Yes. Yeah. And I always say when I struggle with connection to someone or I find myself in a place where I don't feel close to somebody, I can always bring it back to every single person without fail wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be
Or-
understood. Everybody wants to be
Yep.
happy. Even if they don't believe they
Hmm.
deserve to be happy, they want to be, and I want them to be. So, yeah, I think with that, we will end on that beautiful note, unless you have any last things you feel like imparting upon everyone.
Keep going. I believe in you. I think that's the difference. And thank you for having me, Sam. This has been a lot
Beautiful.
of fun. Or Samantha. I
Yeah,
don't even know
same.
if I should shorten your name yet. Are we on this level?
Oh, we're on this level. We've been through a lot together with these
Yes.
technical difficulties.
We come out on the other side, though. We're living what we're talking. It's fine.
Absolutely. It's been a real pleasure, and I hope to keep in touch, hopefully to formally announce and plan my retreat next
Yes.
year, early
Here
next
for
year,
it.
before August, before PhD programs begin. Be on the
Sounds
lookout.
perfect.
All right.
I love it.
Take care, Anna. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for everything you shared with us today, Anna. Travel doesn't just take us somewhere new. It brings us closer to ourselves, our true selves. Anna's story shows us that change doesn't mean starting over. It means carrying your roots with you as they grow in new soil. If you'd like to design your own retreat, Anna does offer a free 2-week email series at moneymakingretreats.com. And if you want to taste the flavor of a Wandering Roots retreat without the stress of planning, you can check out her free DIY retreat guide at retreatsthatdon'tsuck.com. Thank you for tuning in to Shining It Out. Until next time, remember, adventure isn't a luxury as much as it is a biological invitation to grow. Keep shining.